everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Stash Report from The Stash Project. Today is the 29th of July, 2016, and that's it, folks. Half the year is more than over at this point. I'm starting to notice already that going into work in the morning at 5:30, it's getting to be not quite as bright out as it used to be. It's going to be pretty soon where half the morning is going to be dark. Fall is coming, and winter is coming as well for everybody who deals with that fun stuff. But about this point in time in life, I think we're all about to, be okay with snow because it's just been so bloody humid. The temperature, at least in these areas, I know we're in a weather forecast. Why? But I just want to talk about it real quick because we were talking about it in our group chat here the other night that it just hasn't really been hot. We've had, I think, one day over 90 here in southwestern Pennsylvania for the entire summer as of right now. Of course, August or September, we have an Indian summer or something. All that could change, but it's been the humidity this year that's really been killer. It was pretty cool and not that humid last year. This year it has been in the 80s consistently, mid to upper, which is out of the realm of where it should be for this time of year in Pittsburgh. But the humidity has been something awful this year. It's been heat indexes in excess of 100 degrees repeatedly and regularly, and you have days where it's like 75 degrees outside like it was today, and it's still feels like it's 90-something degrees outside because it's just so miserably humid. So I, for one, am ready to have some days where I really don't care what the temperature is, that just the humidity would take a couple of days off. Aside from the fact that most people who follow this channel regularly know I'm an outdoor painter, which may be changing actually very rapidly here. We'll talk about that in another video. It's ridiculous. The humidity's 60, 70, 80%, and you need it really ideally to be under 50 to paint, and the closer to 40 or 30 the better. Too low humidity, then you get into stuff where you're talking about like Arizona weather where the paint will dry before it hits your model kind of thing. But 67% with 100 degree heat index, no, that's not suitable. So anyway, enough blathering about the weather. What do we have to talk about in the actual show that you've tuned in to watch? We have some kit announcements, some actual new announcements that aren't just sort of reissues, because Fujimi has done their September spot run announcements, and of course we talk about that. That always tends to be reissues. We actually have some new announcements that were made at the Malaysia Hobby Expo. It is real late Friday night as I'm filming this, so I can still say I filmed it on Friday, but it is late enough that it is Saturday morning in Malaysia, and the Hobby Expo is open, so we have the Bell kit announcements. So let's just dive headlong into it here. Fujimi has announced their September spot runs. And they are going to be 5 of them, 3 F1 cars for the 120 scale guys and 2 124 scales. So the F1 cars are the Ferrari F10, that is the 2010 version. That could be built to be either the Japanese, the German, or the Italian Grand Prix. They're going to reissue their Tyrrell P34, that is the famous 6-wheeled F1 car that Tyrrell did. That will be done for the 1977 Grand Prix of Japan, and then they'll also be reissuing their Brabham BT46B, done up for the 1978 Grand Prix of Sweden, or the Swedish Grand Prix, I suppose, technically what it is. And that, of course, is a Niki Lauda car for the fans of that driver. So some F1 cars there to look forward to for you guys. And then on the 124 scale side of things, they're going to be reissuing the Toyota Estima Zeus. This is sort of an interesting kit in that it was announced back in 2001. I've backtracked this far enough now that it was announced, and then it was never fulfilled. If you go onto Hobby Search and just look up this kit as just a search, you'll see there'll be a new listing for the kit that'll be coming out in September. And then there is a list at the very bottom that says Toyota's Estima, or I just think I just called it an Estima, but it's probably more like Estima. Exclusive Zeus, with just a picture of what the box art was supposed to look like, and then it says reservations closed, which means that the pre-order for that kit was closed in the sense that they got more pre-orders than they thought they could fill. And then it never came out, though. It was supposed to come out in like late 2001. There was another kit that was called the Toyota Zeus Carbon, which appeared to be the same sort of body kit. The Estima, by the way, if you don't know, is the Toyota Previa minivan. The Estima is the Japanese domestic market version, and that is what this kit will be. It will not have a left-hand drive or export spec kind of dash or anything else like that. And the Zeus thing is a VIP van style type of deal, big wheels, ground effects, spoilers, that sort of thing. The Carbon one was like a racing version. It has a whole bunch of racing decals, and that kit did get made in 2003. So this is either something that's like the decaled, if you will, version of that racing-inspired Carbon kit, or they're actually going to make the Zeus for the first time, and it only took them 15 years. But be that as it may, like I said, it's a VIP-style van. And then the one release that I'm actually excited to see, because this was a kit that I wanted for a while, and I've refused to pay the eBay prices for, believing that it would have to be reissued at some point in time, because they've been reissuing just so much stuff. For people who are new to the channel, because we've gotten quite a lot of subscribers this month, probably about 30, 35 new people. Hello to all you. Happy to have you here. We see a gradual sort of quickening, if you will, of what the things that Fujimi can reissue, because eventually they're going to run out of tooling. They've reissued so many things. And what they're going to be doing in September is the Honda NSX NSX-R. And this is going to be the second-gen version of the NSX. The first one, of course, is the famous one that was also sold here in the United States as an Acura. I believe they actually sold the second-gen NSX here in the United States for a year or two. Also, obviously, under the Acura name, but these are going to be Honda, so they will be JDM. They don't have left-hand drive components, and we never got the NSX-R here in the United States, regardless in either generation, because there was an NSX-R in the first-gen NSX kit, and Tamiya does make that, the NSX-R. They reissued it, I want to say, about 2.5, 3 years ago, so it's not impossible to find, but it's not currently in the catalog. And it is a slightly different kit than their regular Honda NSX kit that's still in the catalog, that also does come with the left-hand drive stuff and still actually has the Acura logos and everything included in it. Back when the car was new in the early 90s, Tamiya did release an export-specific Acura NSX kit. So if you're looking at that kit, because the Revell one obviously is the wrong scale or the right scale, depending on where you come down on that line of 124th and 125th. That kit obviously was just done once back in the early 90s, and it hasn't been back out since, so finding it can be somewhat pricey at times. The Tamiya kit of their Honda NSX first gen is still in the catalog. You can just go to your local hobby shop and ask them to order it, or go through Hobbyland Japan or 1999 Hobby Search or whatever, and you can go get one. But a lot of people don't do that because, well, it's evil, it's JDM, it's right-hand drive, but the kit still has its left-hand drive parts. And unlike a lot of kits that silently carry their export parts, this one, like I said, does still have the Acura logo. So if you're looking for a first-gen NSX, you don't have to go buy one of those $40, $50 Acura-specific ones. The Honda one has the parts. Let's see. Other things to talk about. We talked about last video the new Ebro announcement for the Type 91. This is going to be representing the 1982 race car. This is going to be a 120 scale F1 car, brand new tooling. I don't think it really shares any parts with the Type 88s that came out, because that Type 88, as we talked about when the kits were released, never actually raced, whereas this one actually did. So this is a little bit of what they're releasing in terms of sort of a built pre-production. This kit is supposed to come out in September, so it's pretty far down the line as far as where it is in its production-wise. Obviously, you can see there's a built sample. On the decal side of things, real quick, we talked about this last week as well, and this being the new decals that SK Decal are doing for the recently reissued Hasegawa EK6 Civic race car. This is a much better illustration of what I was trying to say last time about this Idemitsu Motion car that was then picked up after his racing career by a gentleman in Thailand who raced it at the Gia race in Macau. This shows you what the whole decal sheet's going to look like. Obviously, you can only build the car one way or the other. There are not obviously enough roof stripes or hood stripes or all the rest of it to build it both ways. Yes, it has all the numbers and stuff like that, but if you're going to do it one way or the other, this decal sheet is compatible with the reissue. They're also these two sets of decals are going to come out here in the next couple of days, or in the next week or so. This is the Nori House race team, the polka dot car, for lack of a better term. This is a reprint, basically, of a Hasegawa kit. Hasegawa did two versions of this car for some reason. I don't know why. They both appear to be the exact same car. It was just two different box styles that were done. And the thing about this set of decals, it looks excellent, is you'll notice that the wheels here are a different style than these 5-spoke wheels are in these cars. As of right now, Hasegawa has not reissued the kit with these Enki racing wheels in them. You only get the 5 spokes that are shown on the kit box. So technically speaking, you can't build this set of decals out correctly yet because you don't have wheels. There is talk of several different places offering resin repops, basically, of the Hasegawa wheels. So far, I've seen 2. I'm not going to name the names of the companies because they're that bad. One is not the right wheel. It is not even the right rim, so that's irrelevant. And the other one really looks like it's not the right wheel either. It's the right style wheel, but it looks like it's too big compared to the actual kit wheel. So we'll keep you up to date if there's an acceptable resin copy made, or more than likely the version of a Hasegawa kit. I don't know what they're going to reissue it as. To me, they could do it just blank without any decals at all. I realize that's not, marketable in a sense, but for those of us who build race cars, we have our aftermarket decals or our, source for them coming along the lines. We don't need the thing to have livery to it. The Jax decals are kind of neat, but you know what? SK Decals already did a set of EK6 Jax decals. They could have released it blank too, and you could have made the same car. So hopefully they will be doing that version with the Enki racing wheels. It seems kind of silly for them to retool the suspension to lower the stance to a more of a racing stance than the original kit had, to then not reissue the Enki one. So hopefully that'll come along, and like I said, we'll keep you up to date on it. Another thing to talk about before we go into more pictures is the Meng Hummer H1. You'll recall this is, of course, the great big Arnold Schwarzenegger truck, for lack of a better description. The original Hummer, the civilian version based off of the AM General Humvee military-grade troop carrier, or at least armored personnel vehicle. This is going to be Meng's next 1/24 scale kit after the Ford F-350. And we are now seeing a release date of the end of August, beginning of September, depending on what supplier you look at. Also, what supplier you look at will be very dependent on the price you will pay for this kit. A lot of people are assuming it was going to be very expensive. It is not cheap, but I don't think it's any more expensive than the F-350 was originally. The F-350 has gone up in a price for some reason here in the last year. It was originally sold for like $50 some odd. Now it's close to $70 on HobbyLink Japan. The Meng H1 through Hobby Easy, and that is hobbyeasy.com, nothing complicated in the address there, is sort of a Hong Kong-based Amazon for modeling. It covers everything. If you've never been to that website before, it covers all sorts of modeling: armor, aircraft, Gundam, Gunpla, the whole 9 yards, plus obviously automotive stuff. And it's not so much Meng selling you a kit or a vendor selling you a kit as it is, well, anybody who carries it can, in the Hong Kong chain of islands, for lack of a better term, because that's really what Hong Kong is, can sell it to you. It's a little bit better than Alibaba, which some people got caught up in a little bit of a fraud there with the F-350 kit. I don't think anybody ever lost any money, but no kits were ever delivered. But these you won't necessarily be buying from Meng Direct, and Hobby Easy is not a store. It's like Amazon. Amazon is not a store. They have warehouses and they store stuff, but most of the time when you buy stuff from Amazon, you're buying it through a third party who then ships it through Amazon, or Amazon buys it from it and ships it through there. It's a whole logistics thing that, could go on for an hour that we're not going to go into, but that's sort of what the idea is. The price at Hobby Easy for this in US dollars, by the way, you will have to do a currency conversion. There's a little drop-down menu on the top left of the page so that you're not paying in Hong Kong dollars, is $41.55. The resin trans kit that they're doing that has like the great big roll bar on the front and the roof racks and all the rest of the off-road lighting is another $13.89. Shipping, I packaged this together the other day because it was the first place to announce the kit and I forgot to mention it last week. Shipping 2 kits plus the trans kit, and that's to build one kit, the stock way out of the box, and then build the second one with the resin trans kit off-road stuff, ends up being $144.50. That's 2 models, the trans kit, and shipping. Shipping's like $44 because shipping is just expensive. It's just time to face the fact that shipping is not going to get any cheaper. They raised the prices of the express mail from Japan. The U.S. postage is always going up. Canadian postage went up. European postage went up. Guess what? The postage in Hong Kong went up too. So a lot of people saw the $41.55 price and went, wow, that's cheap. And then to ship one kit is like $17 through airmail. It's cheaper to ship at the surface, but you aren't going to get it for who knows how long, several weeks, month, maybe a month and a half. It's sort of like shipping things out of Japan via surface airlift. But the kit was listed this week on 1999 Hobby Search and HobbyLink Japan. Those 2 places where the shipping could nominally be a few dollars cheaper, are listing it for $62 over at Hobby Search and $67.92 at HobbyLink Japan. Oofa. Yeah. Guys, getting it through China, aka Hong Kong, is definitely going to be the cheaper way to go because Meng is already in Hong Kong. So you're not paying to ship it from Hong Kong to Japan, then Japan back here again. Expect that kit, of course, to be kind of pricey here in the United States. I would not be surprised if that kit is $80, if not more, just from the simple fact that the Meng F350, when it was sold here in the United States, ended up being, what, $72, I think. So it wouldn't surprise me if this one was closer to 80 or over 80. So Hong Kong, Hobby Easy, your way to get your Meng H1s if you want one. If you do not go that way or you go through someplace else, I care not of your weeping of price. And that, guys, will take us to the Bell Kits. So there's actually a picture for this. Bell Kits announced their Bell Kit number 10 and Bell Kit number 11. These will be coming out before the end of the year. No exact time given, but end of 2016 is what the poster says. And that's also what the poster for the Manta is. Now, there's going to be one more kit that they're going to announce, and I don't know when or where. It may be the Tokyo Hobby Show in October. It may not be until next year at the Nuremberg Toy Fair because they're still working on getting the sample approved because there are slots for 9, 10, and 11. 10 is the top left. 11 is the bottom right. What kit number 009 is, we still don't know. Kit 008 is the Manta, Opal Manta that's coming out. That's brand new tooling. These, obviously, guys, are just variants. I believe just decals in the 2015 kit. And I think there might be a few little parts differences in 2016. I'd have to really get out my 2014 kit and compare it. Obviously, the liveries are entirely different because the 2013 kit was a white car, and these are obviously going to be dark blue. As far as their primary color goes. Hopefully the decals will be much, much better. That was one of the biggest complaints of the original Polo kit was the decals were almost unusable. They were also incorrect. A few places have put out correct decals. But Bell Kits with the Escorts went over to using Cartograph to do their decals, so hopefully these decals will be much, much better in that sense. I haven't heard anybody's tires eating their wheels in the Polo either, so hopefully they fixed the tire composition because a lot of the people who have the older Ford Focus and Ford Escorts not the Ford Escorts that just came out, but the earlier Bell kit, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 is the Skoda. I think 2 is the Peugeot, and 1 and 3 are Fords. There was a problem there with the composition of the wheel would, chemically leach with the actual tire itself, and it was causing people's wheels, the plastic, to actually melt inside the wheels. So I haven't heard any complaints about that in new kits, so I'm hoping, of course, those new kits haven't been out long enough that problem's also taken care of. So these are both going to be for Monte Carlo rallies. I don't know if they won 2015 or not, because you can't really read what that box art says up there underneath where it says, World Rally Championship 2015. But the 2016 car is the winning car from the Monte Carlo rally in 2016. I'm not a rally guy. You guys know I only have like 2 or 3 rally kits to begin with, and one of which I'm not even building it as the rally car. But I kind of like the Polo. I kind of like the car just in general, and I like this paint scheme a lot more than the original all-white car. So I might actually get them both. I don't know. It'll turn out it'll be a price versus what I need versus what I want kind of thing when that when that comes out. So we'll see, and of course, like I said, we'll keep you up to date as always on release dates. Based on the feedback on Belkit's Facebook page this morning after the announcement was made, the Rally Nation is in uproar. They apparently thought they were getting 2 brand new tool kits before the end of the year, and unfortunately, hobbyists don't necessarily understand the business side of the hobby all the time. Belkits paid a lot of money to Volkswagen and Red Bull especially to do that kit originally, and then they were supposed to do that second one right afterwards, but then there was a whole licensing problem with Red Bull, because why wouldn't there be? They were famous for that. Excuse me, guys. Actually, we just talked about this last video or another video recently where we talked about the fact that there was probably never going to be the follow-up kit because Red Bull wouldn't allow it to happen. Apparently, they finally came to a financial agreement that allowed it to happen, and they got these 2 kits coming up. But a tool die. These kits that Belkits are making, for the most part, are brand new kits. There's no way you can take parts out of the Skoda and the Escort and put it into the Polo or vice versa. That tooling costs like $500,000, if not more, to make. Probably a little bit more, because Belkit's new kits are actually pretty nice in their tooling and detailing. They're up there with the Aoshima Revell of Germany level. They're not quite Tamiya, because Aoshima is trying to get to Tamiya, but they're not quite there yet. They're definitely in the top third of kit producers as far as their kits go, decal problems and tire eating problems notwithstanding. But they're making niche stuff, which is why it's so expensive, $50, $60 a model kit, and it costs a lot of money to make the tooling in the first place. You've got to recoup it somehow, and for this instance, they're going to recoup a lot of this tooling cost that went into licensing Volkswagen, licensing Red Bull, by doing 2 more kits off of the original tooling that are close. I think they're going to have to retool headlights. I'm looking behind me to the kit because it's like right here off camera. Well, I think it may have to retool some headlights, maybe retool the back spoiler. I don't know if the body has any major differences. I'd have to actually sit down with pictures and look at them. It's too much to say, okay, this poster and then this model, can't really do it that way. But, it's going to be a minimal amount of new stuff. And, the cost of decal making, even with Cartograph doing it, is not that expensive. And, other than that, maybe wheels are different in the 2016 version. They don't look quite the same as the 2015 version does. Minimal tooling investment for maximum profit. And you have to understand, and this goes for Revell too. A lot of people lament Revell. Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? Oh, it's another reissue of this with some new parts. That's how you make money. I wish we could always have brand new everything. I wish we could just go back and retool all the shit from the 1960s, pardon my French, that's, crappy kits or, revive annuals that people want, but it costs a lot of money to do it, and you have to be able to prove that you can, afford the tooling investment and all that sort of stuff. And so sometimes that rabid fandom of, this should have been a this should have been a that, sort of overshadows the financial realities of it. You're getting new model kits, even if they are just decals in the sense of the 2015 version. it's a new model kit. The decals don't exist in the aftermarket because Red Bull goes after anybody who does anything unlicensed. So if you want to make the newer cars, you're going to have to buy these kits. And it doesn't matter because there's not like there's, Volkswagen Polos coming out your ears the way there are, 32 Fords or 57 Chevys. Just, deal with that fact. Like I posted on their Facebook page in the comments section of that announcement. I know it doesn't make everybody happy, but if you want bell kits to be around for the long term, they occasionally are going to have to make variants of existing tooling to help their costs, be what a reasonable amount, or you're going to start paying $90, $100 for a model kit, and I don't know that enough people would to make it justify. Similar is a great example of that. Similar, of course, made the Ford GT from the 2000s, not the current brand new car, not the old 1960s Ford GT, but I'm trying to think if it had a more specific name. That was just a Ford GT. They made that kit, and that kit has a lot of problems in its building and its quality in general. And they also did the Piscalero Judd car and a Ford Focus rally car, but they were really, 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 really expensive. And in the end, not enough people bought them, and their reputation of what the kits were caught up with them, and they end up going bankrupt. That's also sort of what happened to Accurate Miniatures. They made a bunch of kits on the automotive side, the McLaren and the Corvette. They were very, 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 very intensive kits, too fiddly for a lot of people. And they were very, very expensive compared to what the kit price was. They're almost twice as much as what a domestic kit was at the time. Not enough people were interested in the subject matter, regardless of how good or bad the kit may have been. And they went bankrupt because they couldn't afford it. There was going to be a Ford Taurus NASCAR kit. That was what the next Accurate Miniatures kit was going to be. Might have revolutionized NASCAR kits at the time, but out of money because nobody bought what there was there because, the price was way more than the product. Tamiya can get away with charging $70 for a model kit because you're getting $70 for the model kit out of it. Other people, not so much. So, moving along here before we end up making this an hour long, we have kit releases from Japan. Nothing came out in addition here from round 2 yet for July or for the June kits. We're still missing, of course, the Super Boss and the yellow pearl molded mod rod. Those still haven't come out yet. And of course, the Royal kits came out last week, so that's done and said with. Fujimi had their one kit release for the month of July, and that is the Toyota Altezza RS200. This is really your bargain basement Altezza that was just a factory stock car. They put out that Altezza Type Z or whatever they called it, 2-3 months ago now. It was April, so two months ago. This is the just factory stock version, and people were like, well, another Altezza. But yeah, but that Altezza, the basic Altezza that's not a tuner or anything else like that, hasn't been out for a while, and that kit's really been kind of expensive on eBay because it's the base model, I guess. I'm not exactly sure why that kit is as popular as it is. I guess if you don't want to build a tunerized version, there's no other game in town. You have to buy that one. The Type Z has different wheels and a different bumper and different ground effects and a spoiler and stuff that kit doesn't have. If you really want to build, sort of a stock version that has been tuned, afterwards, you kind of need that kit over the other ones. And then Aoshima has put out several things. In their tuned car series, is this the reissue of the Nissan Silvia, S13 Silvia, I guess I should say, as the Rasta tuning house. This kit, of course, already exists. This is just, we're packaging more kits into that, the model car and the tuned model car category. On the model car side of things, the Nissan Skyline Super Silhouette, Japan, what do they call this back then? It was like the Japan GT class. This kit's back out. I really wish that they would tool new chassis for this. I really do, because this is a really cool-looking race car, historic race car. This along with the Bluebird Super Silhouette that they did as well. But the chassis that's underneath both of these is a motorized chassis. It is really, really cruddy. And the interior and the chassis end up not looking anything like the real car. I really, you know, I said I don't know that they necessarily have to retool the body per se, but putting a newer style chassis and something resembling the real car's interior inside would get me to buy it. This is a repackage of a Best Car Vintage kit, and no thank you, I'll pass. Also, the R32 version of the Nissan Skyline GTR. I like this packaging, guys. I think it's very nice, very simple, very elegant. It's just the side profile of Godzilla, and you don't need to say anything else. You know what this car is just by looking at it. The Skyline GTR up there on top, I guess, just for people who don't know what they're looking at. But, you know, it's certainly not as nearly as loud as this is. You know, this is, oh, my goodness, there's a lot going on there. This, very quiet, very subtle, very understated. Again, I like it. And last in the model car series is this, the Subaru BRZ, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Boxer motor. This does, by the way, guys, like the Toyota 86 reissue, was the #1 car of the model car series. This does come with the engine insert. I know a lot of people still will complain to this day that engine doesn't have an oil pan on it, and therefore you can't transfer it into something else. And that is because, of course, the real car has a giant aerodynamic skid plate on the bottom. It's not really a skid plate, but it's a big plastic aerodynamic thing that goes over the entire bottom of the engine. And so rather than tool up an oil pan that you're never going to see and make the kit cost, I don't know, another $2 or $3 in tooling costs, they just made it without one. And you put the engine in from the top after you've assembled the whole kit. The engine itself is like 22, 24 pieces, so it's really the whole engine. It just doesn't have an oil pan. I'm okay with that. But some people, they just can't handle it for whatever reason. And the last kit we're going to talk about reissue-wise here is this. This is the Lamborghini Countach 5000 Quattrofoglio, the fuel-injected version representing the 1988 Countach with the Bosch K-Tronic fuel injection. This kit just came out, at the middle of last year, beginning of last year, I want to say, because I think I announced it in December of 2014. So that put it as, I think, the spring or summer kit release last year. This does include the photo etch parts and the metal transfers for the logos and emblems and stuff like that. It's a great kit. The Countach series, there's like 5 kits altogether. It's just a great series of kits if you're into the Countach. We've talked about it. There's a kit review on the channel someplace in the past. It's almost probably close to an hour long. We did that as a response to something over at Show Rod Garage about Countach kits and what were accurate and what weren't. There's a just base Countach LP, LP400. There's a Countach 5000. There's this kit. There's the Walter Wolf version, and which is actually going to be reissued next month. And then there's also a Japanese specific kit that they also did. So like I said, there's a plethora of very nicely done Countach kits. They all started back in 2011, so they're all brand new tooling. They are 3D, not 3D scanned so much, but they were 3D measured, and they went to the factory in Italy and went to the museum and took measurements directly from the car. So a lot of it is 3D scanned, not the whole thing, but a good chunk of it is. So it is the most accurate Countach kit out there. And I highly recommend it anyway. It's certainly a lot better than the old Monogram kit or the Tamiya kits that are motorized that have incredibly wrong wheels or pretty much anything else. That's what the best means. It is better than the rest. So anyway, guys, we hope you enjoyed the show this week. We have more videos of new stuff that came in that series coming to you this week. And in a couple of days, whenever Revell puts out their kit release announcement officially for August, we'll have our August compilation video. For the new people that are the channel, again, welcome. We do one video a month at the beginning of the month, or as close to the beginning of the month as possible, to sort of combine all the information that we spit out to you every week into one easy to focus on video that will let you know what you should be keeping an eye out for in the month of August. As far as new kit releases and reissues go. So thanks for coming on board, and we'll see you guys on the other side.